From the days of the Assyrian invasions in the 8th century, the Jewish story became a chronicle of exiles. Babylonian armies came next, tearing down the first temple in Jerusalem. Persian tolerance was brief. Greek and Roman conquerors increased their control. By the 2nd century, after Rome's brutal crackdowns, Jewish families were scattered across deserts and seas, carrying with them a dream of return that would never die. 2,000 years ago, Jerusalem stood as the ancient homeland of the Jewish people. Here stood the kingdoms of Israel and Judah until conquering empires came like tides. First came the Assyrians, followed by the Babylonians, who burned the first temple and carried thousands into exile. The Persians, who allowed returns, the Greeks under Alexander, and finally the Romans, who destroyed the Second Temple. Wave after wave of conquest scattered the Jews across North Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. By the late 1800s, that ancient longing met the brutal reality of European anti-Semitism. A Vietnamese journalist named Theodor Herzl called for a political return, which became the Zionist movement. Jewish families began buying farmland in Ottoman Palestine. When the First World War toppled the Ottomans, Britain took control. In 1917, Foreign Secretary Arthur James Balfour issued a declaration backed by prominent supporters like the Rothschild family, promising a national home for the Jewish people, while also pledging to respect the rights of the land's Arab inhabitants. To Palestinian Arabs, Muslims, and Christians who had lived there for centuries, it felt like a promise made over their heads. Through the 1920s and 1930s, tension increased. Riots shook Hebron and Jerusalem. After the Holocaust, sympathy for Jewish survivors surged. In 1947, the United Nations proposed 2 states, one Jewish, one Arab, and an international Jerusalem. Jewish leaders accepted this, while the Arab leaders rejected this. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion proclaimed the State of Israel in Tel Aviv. Within hours, armies from Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq invaded. Israel survived and even gained territory beyond the UN plan. For Palestinians, this was known as the Nakba, which means the catastrophe. More than 700,000 people were expelled from cities like Haifa, Lida, Jaffa, and from hundreds of villages now erased from maps. Israel passed the law of return, giving any Jew anywhere an automatic right to immigrate and gain citizenship. Wars followed from 1956, 1967, and 1973. After the Six-Day War in 1967, Israel captured the West Bank, East Jerusalem, Gaza, and the Golan Heights, placing millions of Palestinians under military occupation. There were peace efforts like the Oslo in the 1990s, the Camp David talks, later negotiations rose and collapsed. Gaza became a cage of 2 million souls. After Hamas seized control in 2007, Israel and Egypt tightened a blockade. There were underground tunnels for goods and at times weapons. Children there grew up knowing drones before playgrounds. Then came October 7th, 2023, a day that changed everything again. Under the cover of surprise, Hamas fighters launched a multi-front assault into southern Israel. They broke through border fences, used paragliders, drones, and motorized vehicles to cross into towns. Dozens of communities, including Stero, Fahaza, Ner Oz, and Netiv HaSarah, were attacked. Militants killed civilians and took many hostages. They fired thousands of rockets from Gaza towards cities like Ashkelon, Ashdod, Jerusalem, and others. Israel's response was ferocious airstrikes and a ground campaign that devastated Gaza through 2024 and into 2025. Regional militias and distant powers were drawn in. Roads, hospitals, power lines, everything cracked under the weight of war. Both Israelis and Palestinians counted their dead by the thousands. The fight has continued between Israel and Palestine, breaking out in wars, uprisings, and short truces that never last. In Jerusalem, Gaza City, Tel Aviv, and Ramallah, families still live with memories of the Nakba, the law of return, and years of loss. Borders keep shifting, peace talks rise and fall, but the struggles go on. After centuries of exile, return, and broken promises, one question remains: is a two-state the solution? I would like to know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this narration insightful, give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more world history stories, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next narration.